you've been to Six Flags Over Texas in Arlington, Texas, you may know this icon known as Mr.Freeze. Arguably one of the best rides in the park and maybe even in Texas. Everything from its thrill to even its theming, it's a staple for this place. However, what if this Texan favorite closed down for good? In today's video, we're discussing the very real possibility of this fan favorite coaster closing for good, and if it did happen, its possible replacement. This is what if Mr. Freeze closed for good at Six Flags Over Texas. Before we get started though, if you're new here, welcome to the channel for all those thrill seekers. On JB Thrills, we make all sorts of content related to theme parks and thrill rides, no matter where they're located. And if you're specifically a Texas theme park enthusiast, this is also your #1 source on all Texas theme park news. So if that interests you, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and tap that notification bell to know when new videos come out on my channel. Without further ado, let's get started. Now first things first, before I see any comments, I do not want Mr. Freeze to close. This is by far one of my favorite attractions here at the park. But the only reason I bring it up is because if you've been following Six Flags lately, they've had a recent trend of closing down attractions without warning, and it has me worried for the future of this attraction. You see, if this actually happened, not only would it be a Freeze fan nightmare, but it would leave a massive hole for the rest of this park's lineup. I know that for 2026 we're getting a Giga Dive, but this coaster is adding on to our barely hanging on lineup in the park. Just from Titan currently being down for a repaint, the park already feels like it's running out of options as the next best rides come down to Giant, Freeze, Shockwave, or Batman, which is a clone. The Giga stabilizes the park's lineup, but taking one out right now sends everything out of balance once more. Not to mention, Mr. Freeze is like the Texas version of King the Cop. You take this coaster out, without warning, the Gotham City area will start to live up to its name, if you know what I mean. Now you may be asking, JB, why are you talking about this? Is Mr. Freeze closing down this year? Why are you not telling us? Well, thankfully, no, it's not actually happening, and I promise you that's without a doubt. At least for now. And let me explain why. Just for some context, Freeze originally opened to the public in the year of 1998, going forward at the time by the way. And soon in 2012, Six Flags said it was so good, let's make it go backwards, to be even better. Everyone loved it so much they all pulled up to ride on the first day, even Vanilla Ice.
Vanilla Ice, I want you to come to Six Flags Over Texas.
Obviously, an icon was born. Not only is it one of the biggest investments Over Texas has ever received, but it soon became one of the biggest coasters in the park. Sure, it may not compare to the modern day launch coasters we see now, but it's historic and it's still a hit to this day, with consistent long wait times, at least when it's open. You see, the biggest problem with this coaster as of right now is the issues Freeze has been having. I don't know why, but it seems that in recent times, the breakdowns for this coaster have become way more frequent. It's either a restraint issue, a short park problem,
just short parked by like 3 inches here on Mr. Freeze,
or even a seatbelt issue. Now, this is not trying to be exaggerate, and I know someone is probably typing in the comments right now saying, coaster downtime is normal, you're being dramatic. Maybe you're right, but you can't lie, current Six Flags is taking rides down for less. Every Freeze breakdown only heightens Zimmerman's senses. I'm joking, I love you Six Flags, but it is kind of true. Being realistic, if Freeze continues with its problems and even becomes worse, there's a pretty good chance Over Texas won't want it anymore. Now before I get some hate for even thinking of the idea, again, I love Freeze, by far an easy top 3 in the park. Losing this coaster, especially without warning, would break me. But with that said, if I look deep down, I admit I don't really see this coaster making it for 7 more years. We're only 3 months into 2025 and the ride has probably been down for more than 40 times at this point. It's looking bad. Now, as sad as the situation might be, we're not here to discuss when Freeze could close. No, we're here to discuss what happens after it does. Call it a code mechanism or call it optimism, but if Freeze goes, which it will someday, I need to put it out there that we have potential for some amazing replacements. I just know Six Flags may potentially be watching this video right now, and for that, please Mr. Six, listen up. Without question, the Freeze replacement needs to be good. Some of y'all will say, just give it LAMs and call it a day. And to that I say, sure, but new coaster. Freeze is amazing, I'll give you that, but progression is even better. If you think about it, Mr. Freeze is just a few seconds of an attraction. If we got something as good as Freeze, but a longer duration, it's already better. I'm sorry y'all, that's my opinion. And you can't lie, a bigger coaster replacing Freeze, I know you would love that too. The thing is, I absolutely say that if we get a new coaster, it needs to be worthy. Just picture this, it's 2028 and Six Flags randomly closes Mr. Freeze for good. They tell us its replacement will be a coaster like we've never seen before in Texas. We get hyped and make prediction videos and we're super excited for the new ride, and all of a sudden, it's a Vekoma Super Boomerang. Please no. Now of course, if you look at the land that Freeze sits in right now, you may say it's impossible to add a big coaster there. It's a miracle we have an elite compact coaster like Mr. Freeze right now. How in the world could a bigger coaster go right there? Well, you see, there's more space than what meets the eye. Sure, if you load up Google Maps and only use the current plot of Freeze right now, it's pretty small. But who said the new ride only had to be in that spot? At theme parks, it's becoming a lot more common to integrate pathways and roller coasters together. It adds to theming, but it also lets parks be creative with the layout and make truly an amazing roller coaster. If Six Flags goes all out, and it probably will considering we're getting a Giga, I could see them expand the coaster to the current Gotham City pathways and our biggest space right now, the plot of the old Harley Quinn attraction. If you haven't been to Over Texas in a while, basically about 2 years ago, there used to be an attraction next to Joker, our SNS Free Spin. That ride was Harley Quinn's Insanity. Since then, it's been taken out, and due to that ride, we kind of had a new bonus area in Gotham City, pretty much abandoned and only used for some shows during Fright Fest or Holiday in the Park. It's a literal dead zone while also being a dead end. It's also a massive eyesore. Since the attraction's closure, for years I've been saying to add a new roller coaster right there, but that plot is pretty small. That is, if you exclude Mr. Freeze. You heard that right. I've always said they should connect the pathways together, make the entirety of Gotham City a full-on loop rather than a dead end. They can still do that, but if you take the spot of Mr. Freeze, the empty space in front of Batman, and the empty space of Harley Quinn, you now have more than enough space to add a massive new roller coaster right there. If they do this, this will truly become the next icon for the Gotham City area of the park, as well as the next icon for Six Flags Over Texas. The thing is, for being an icon, what's this new coaster going to look like? In past predictions for our new roller coaster at Over Texas, we had to be a little bit realistic and budget friendly. The previous Six Flags post-merger could invest in the park, but typically didn't and gave us small additions. It also didn't help that Six Flags Over Texas wasn't 100% owned by Six Flags yet either. Yeah, you heard that right. But that all changes in 2026. Six Flags has full ownership with this park, meaning they can now truly invest, and I can tell they want to make this park better. So with this new merger, Cedar Fair is carefully evaluating their assets and coming up with a plan on what to do with them. In this case, when they saw Over Texas, they saw money and potential. After all, the Texas market is only increasing. We have more people moving here, and since the start, Over Texas has had potential. So all this to say, our new coasters can now be something special, and this leads me to some ideas I want to put out there in the case Freeze's reign comes to an end. I've always said RMC should run it back with Over Texas, as our last collab was with New Texas Giant, and I believe a second chance is due. It may not be a T-Rex, but a custom Raptor similar to what we see at Magic Mountain with Wonder Woman could be a perfect addition. The long and multiple trains could definitely aid with capacity, especially for a park like Over Texas that's growing. You need that. These rides are also chock full of airtime and amazing elements. It also helps that the coaster looks unique, which would attract the general public a lot. Plus, they can also be made to be compact or fit around tight spaces, and in this case, it would definitely work. Would it be a clone to Magic Mountains or Great Adventures? Absolutely not. I say it's like the others, but in reality I want it to be even more custom, essentially a layout we've never seen with Raptors yet, and if any park deserves that, it's definitely Over Texas. Next up is a truly personal favorite, but that's Vekoma. It's obviously a bigger investment compared to RMC, but if the Giga Dive we're getting next year means anything, it means Cedar Fair is not afraid to give some more money to us, especially after this merger. This will also be a perfect choice for multiple reasons, and starting with number one, Vekoma is making a comeback. I don't know if you noticed, but the newest additions of these past couple years tends to have a trend with a certain manufacturer. What used to be the lowest tier in roller coaster manufacturing, Vekoma has seriously got a glow up since then and are producing some serious world-class new rides. Considering they're reliable, smooth, and can take any form, why not give us a coaster from them? My best example of what I like to see is the new Tocani Beast coming to the new Vedanta World in Mexico. Obviously, it can't be as big as that coaster, but it can take a different form. The best solution is to have the station of the coaster be where Harley Quinn used to be, and the layout could extend further towards Mr. Freeze and take up all that space. Basically out and back, but with a few steps and a different layout. The ride should be a multi-launch coaster because obviously it makes it better than Mr. Freeze, but the best part, it's a full circuit coaster unlike Freeze. This means you have a longer layout, and a longer layout means better inversions, better ride experience, and the main part, a longer ride duration. So if this actually happened, I wouldn't be sad if Mr. Freeze left. We're getting a good replacement. Plus, maybe like Tocani, you could have the pathway go underneath it and still connect Gotham City into a full circle. Who knows? It'll potentially be costly, but it's a worthy replacement, and if Cedar Fair wants to invest, by all means. Speaking of launch coaster, we still have another manufacturer we need to talk about, and that's Premier, the one who actually created Mr. Freeze. If Six Flags wants a safer bet with someone they've been working with and still delivers, Premier could easily make a launch coaster with a killer layout. The biggest reference of what they could do is Alpine Fury at Canada's Wonderland, and it goes to show they can make any piece of land work. It may be tricky to combine the spaces of Harley Quinn and Mr. Freeze, but if anyone can do it, Premier definitely can. From these examples, you might be wondering why so many launch coasters. Well, if you analyze all the coasters that Over Texas already has, one we're particularly missing is a multi-launch coaster. And I know we do have 2 launch coasters with Mr. Freeze and Aquaman, but they're not full circuit. Some like Full Throttle at Magic Mountain, or of course Alpine Fury, will be perfect for this park. Once again, better capacity, but longer ride experiences are the best. In hindsight, any manufacturer Six Flags is willing to pay could totally make this new coaster. All I ask is that it's good and potentially longer than Mr. Freeze. They have the space, they just need the money and the creativity to make it work. Anyways, the main thing to take away from this is that Mr. Freeze does not have a lot of time left. My final prediction for Freeze is sadly 5 to 7 more years of operation, but anything more than that, I don't see it. There may be a lot of time, but for those Freeze fans, I say ride as much as possible when it's open. With this current state of Six Flags, we won't really know if Freeze will close without warning or will they tell us in advance. And that's if Freeze doesn't fully break down either. With all that said, what do you think? Can Freeze get saved, or is it better to invest in a modern roller coaster? Comment down below. Once again, if you want to stay up to date on all Texas theme parks, help me out by subscribing to the channel, as we're less than 1.5k away from the big 10k. And that means Faithville. Anyways, thank you for watching, and this is JB Thrills signing out.